The following content is not meant for children. Hello, and welcome back. I am Maester Aelix, and this is Aelix's Stellaris Empires. We're right back where we left off here on the Grignac Assembly. Now, if you recall in the last video, I had talked about these guys quite a lot, and this was basically step one of their process. So let's see the conclusion. The Synthacron Multiplex. For those who didn't catch the first episode, this race of lithoids was attempting to elevate themselves through technology from being mere stone into refined metal. Only recently, after the graduation of the upper class and the elites, did the newly minted Synthacrons unlock the ability to travel between stars. It was the most fortuitous, for now they can spread their influence to any species they encounter and can uplift. So yeah, TLDR, hey, turning ourselves into machines was so awesome, we should do it to everyone. With that being said, let's begin. Alright. I went with this particular appearance because it has the, large head, broad shoulders necessary to pull off the previous species. And while, other lithoids might have similar shapes to that or this, none of these machines really look like the original lithoids. Now, this particular one came with the lithoids pack, but doesn't really fit as nice as this one does. Plus, when we get further down into the cyborg species, it'll make even more sense. So, moving on. Species names. We are the Synthacron, the plural is Synthacrons, and adjective Synthacron. And I already read this biography. Name list. I went with Hive Mind 1 because Autonomous Drone 62, Autonomous Drone 23 shows just that lack of humanity, just enough that, they think that forcefully assimilating others is the right thing to do. Yeah. When they uplifted themselves, they lost something. Now moving on to the crunchy, delicious traits. Alright, as a machine, they have a habitability of bonus of 200%. I have them be luxurious because the assembly cost is less a problem because of a few choices you'll see later. So, and it can also be mitigated through technology upgrades. So this is 2 free points basically. Double jointed pop housing usage. This is incredibly important as assimilators will be adding more people. Housing will be needed. And superconductive. Machine empires only need minerals and energy, and as a result, minerals and energy are always a problem, and if you have a lot of energy, you can always buy more minerals. While I could have gone with power drills, I went with superconductive, and while these are indeed a people who are so smart they turn themselves into robots, I did not take any more like super science things. They are going to get a lot of that from assimilating people. Speaking of assimilating, they have a cyborg species, which is these lithoids. Now, in my headcanon, you had your primary Grignacs, which were, the really smart ones, and then you have those people who just don't get all that smart. Perhaps it's from being lazy, perhaps it's from, organic deficiencies. Either way, there are just some people who can't learn so well. And they were not converted into machines, they were merely given cybernetic upgrades and turned into a workforce, because we're immortal now. Why would we throw our bodies at war and such? So, moving on, they are the Grignac, and like last time, the Grignaki, and their adjective is Grignaku. I didn't put in a biography because I already, didn't do that on the Grignac the first time, and I'm explaining myself now. Name Lithoid 4, just like last time. And now their traits. Now this is where things got really fun and interesting. So being lithoids, they consume minerals instead of food. Their pop growth is reduced, which is, not great, but habitability up by 50%. Army health, 50%. Leaders lifespan, plus 50. Now they don't really use leaders, but if they did. Now cybernetic, habitability 20%, so that's 70%. Army damage 10 plus 50, so 60% army damage. And leader lifespan 40 plus 50, so 90 years. Oh my goodness, that is awesome. They are very strong because I want them to have that worker pop output. And army damage plus 40%. So these make for fantastic army units. Cybernetic lithoids that are very strong, yeah, they smash good. Wasteful, pop consumer goods upkeep plus 10%. Because of them being, slow breeders with the pop growth speed penalty, you're never going to have a whole lot that need the consumer pop goods. And by the time you assimilate someone who's going to need it, you're already well established. Repugnant, actually, what I'm going to do instead of repugnant, where is it? Fleeting and deviance, because leader lifespan, they don't use leaders, so it doesn't matter, and governing ethics traction, yeah, they don't govern. They're not really, yeah. So they're wasteful, they're fleeting, they're deviance. So these basically don't matter, and we can use up all those. And then the scintillating skin, because rare crystals are really useful and help with many things, including advanced research facilities and the like. So giving a small trickle of this from the start of the game does add up, and it does help. Homeworld is a frozen tundra like before, and since they have graduated themselves and their world, they decided to rename everything. So the homeworld is now Source Code, and the star has been renamed to Lumi. And also, I didn't want to, in case both spawned in the same game, I really didn't want there to be a problem with duplicate namings, because that can cause issues. Alright. Because these guys were once lithoids, I gave them the Lithoid City appearance. But the reason why you don't see it in the mirror, and why this looks funny, is the origin. Origin is the resource consolidation, which is great. It doesn't say here, but what it is not only do you have a machine world as your starting world, but your home system already has all the research facilities and mining facilities that it can have, so that for your first home system, you don't need to do anything. It's already set up, and you're going to start the game with a lot of resource and energy generation, and even some science. It's really, really strong start. Now it's just being smart with the rest, which hopefully we can get that going with our cyborgs and other traits. Governing and ethics. Obviously, we have to be a Gestalt consciousness, which leads to wonderful things like rulers are immortal, native pops are not affected by happiness, and will not join factions, so that governing ethic thing is completely, non-important. Native pops cannot survive, and can use the no retreat doctrine from the start. No retreat doctrine is pretty darn good, I gotta admit. See, war exhaustion, minus 20%, so we will outlast our enemies, and monthly influence +1, and if I need to explain why having more influence is good, then I don't know why you're here. Alright, and machine intelligence, leaders are immortal, as stated before. Machine pops do not grow but are built by non-machine pops and must be assimilated, enslaved, or non-machine pops must be assimilated, enslaved, or purged. Has access to machine technologies, cannot research robot technologies, because we're already there, and cannot follow the psionic, biological, or synthetic ascension perks, which means you get all those other perks out there, galactic force projection, or other wonderful things. Let's see, you get an additional pop when starting a colony, always nice. Mining station output +10%, and when you combo that with the machine world origin, oh my goodness. Plus your, cyborgs, oh man. Empire Sprawl penalty +100%. Now here is where this thing kind of collapses in on itself just a little. At the start of the game, just keep your sprawl penalty below, and then just kind of realize it's never going to get better once you start assimilating people. They do not have the building that allows them additional administration cap, which is just crippling. later on in the game. So all the stuff you would get from Empire Sprawl, you know, all those penalties, you'll have to be mitigated by people you've assimilated who are not yet machines, but, you know, your semi-organics. Pop growth reduction 50%, and, you know, we knew this going in. They used to be lithoids, now they're machines. You're not going to have a lot of native machines, but that's fine. They're just basically the ruling class over the cyborgs, and not everyone can be elevated to machinery, but we can do our best. That being said, Rapid Replicator helps. Just, you know, pop assembly speed to plus 20%. So when we decide to make more, we can make them a little bit faster. There are other things out there that could really help, but this is the one that I'm sticking with. And then, of course, the Driven Assimilator, the whole point of this. You start the game with 10 cyborg pops and the ability to assimilate organics as cyborgs, and assimilated pops generate unity and society research, which is nice. Non-assimilating organic pops are automatically purged over time, but I would recommend assimilating them all because that puts them to use, as opposed to just throwing them away. And you have the assimilation casus belli on all other empires, which means you don't have to mess around with claims. You just go to war and go and eat them. It's awesome. Decreased opinion for most other empires. Yes, everything that's not a machine empire is probably going to hate you, and other machine empires might be willing to put up with your crap. Might. And all it requires is that I am not a rogue servitor and not a determined exterminator. I'm taking a step back, that you're not a rogue servitor for resource consolidation, which is really fun. And yeah, this is where everything comes together. Now we are a machine intelligence, which has a really great voice pack.
Alert. Possible organic life form detected. Seek, isolate, destroy. Self-destruct sequence initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you. That's quite fun. Empire name, we're the Synthacron Multiplex, and the adjective for that is simply the Synthacron. And now this flag. Now, I used the same blue as the Grignac, but I replaced the black with this light blue, mostly because I wanted a change, and the fact that these guys are darker, I decided to go lighter, is actually kind of fun. Though, if you really wanted to, you can put your secondary color to black, and it still works, but I like the light blue better. And an update from the We Are Turning Ourselves into Robots to We Are Now Robots has changed their flag to this wonderful little circuit board. There are more elaborate ones out there, but the simplicity of this really speaks to our, you know, what do? We assimilate, and then assimilate more. They're very straightforward and simple. And of course we have lithoid ships. Now, at the time of recording, there is a very popular mod out there called Machine Shipset. I would most definitely use that mod for this race, but since I try to keep things vanilla for these videos, vanilla as in unmodded, I definitely go with the lithoid ships because they are elevated from lithoids. And our ruler is the One, the central processor. Room 19 I really like because not only do you have this lovely repeating circuitish pattern, which goes well with the flag, but the tiles in the back looks, you know, they have some, you know, circuit board pattern on there too, at least some of them do, and otherwise it looks like they're kind of falling off. So this might have been something nice once, but it seems to be falling apart and the circuitry showing underneath, which is great. There are other machine rooms out there. Don't recall. Either way, room 19 is what I really like for these guys, and color variant 4 also really works. Now, can't deny that 1 looks lovely. The others are a little out of place, but 4, that black and gold really goes well with the room's black and gold. And if you go to your flag still being, black on the secondary, works even more better. But like I said, I wanted to lighten it up. So there you go. The Synthacron Multiplex. What happens after you turn yourselves into robots? Well, you turn everything else around you into robots, including your own planet. It's great. Now, one other bit of advice I have for this group is there is an Ascension perk out there that lets you raid when you bombard, which is basically to steal pops away from planets you're bombing to heck, which is great. Since their whole point is to assimilate, this lets you not only take over enemy planets, and while you're waiting for your army ships to arrive, you're just stealing pops away, so you start their assimilation all that faster. And I just find it really flavorful. So, that's one I recommend, and feel free to let all of those other warlike bonuses to everything else Ascension perks help you out in this matter. And with that being said, thank you all for joining me. I really hope you're enjoying this series as much as I'm enjoying making it for all of you. If you do, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and of course, check out the links in the description down below because that's where all the really great stuff is. And since you're a Maester Aelix fan, you deserve all the best stuff. And I shall see you all next time.